Welcome back to your online tutor, the one place that turns your questions into answers. Today we're looking at November 2022 and specifically question paper 2. Okay, we're going to scroll down all the way to question 4 and do our bank recon together. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. We will attend to them as well as our community online. We will all grow together, we all learn together, and we all secure those distinctions. Okay, so let's scroll down to question 4. If you have your physical paper with you, also flip your pages all the way to question 4. Physical papers all the way down to question 4. If you have digital, same thing. Swipe all the way down to question 4. Let's do it together. So let's read our reply first before we begin. Just going to hover over it as we read it together. Question 4, our bank reconciliation. This consists of 25 marks in 20 minutes. If you're doing this on your own, please make sure that you are timing yourself. So if you're doing it after us, time yourself and make sure you do complete it within 20 minutes. Often people do not complete their accounting papers, but we are here to secure distinction. So we do finish our accounting papers around here. Okay. 4.1 indicates whether the following statements are true or false. Write only true or false next to the question number over here in 4.1.1, 4.1.2, and 4.1.3. And the answer book. Our answer book is on our right-hand side. Let's go into 4.1.1. Debit card fees form part of bank charges. Is this true or is this false? Let's read it together. So we're saying debit card fees form part of bank charges. Okay, so just to clarify, we've got our debit card and we have a credit card. So bank charges card. Bank charges is just charges for using your account. Okay, so you could get charged, for instance, withdrawing money, depositing money, and so on. So you will get charged on both your debit card and your credit card. So this is very correct. True for 4.1.1. True. 4.1.2, interest on overdraft is recorded in your cash receipts journal. Is this true or is this false? We're saying interest on overdraft is not an income. It's not a fixed deposit. It's not where your money is stored. It's money that you pay for using money that does not belong to you. If it's money that does not belong to you, it is a liability. So any interest on a liability is shown in your cash payments journal and not your cash receipts journal. So if it's interest on an asset, for example, so versus interest on an asset, this would be in your cash receipts journal. An example of this is interest on investments, for instance, or fixed deposit. This would be in your CRJ. But any interest on things that you owe to the bank, you owe money to, is a liability. And liabilities are usually money that comes out of your account cash payments journal, not your cash receipts journal. So this is false. 4.1.3, a debit balance on the bank statement reflects a favorable balance. So let's just draw out our T account for a debit balance on your bank statement. So usually use your recon bank statement or your bank recon to illustrate this. Okay, so you've got your debit as usual on your left hand side and your credit side and your right-hand side is your credit side. Okay, so a debit balance, which will be shown over here, reflects a favorable balance. So let's remember, your bank statements or your bank recon is where your bank sees us. So it's from the bank's perspective. The bank sees us, as the customer, as the business, as a creditor. For example, you borrow somebody a calculator. The calculator belongs to you, yes. So the calculator belongs to you, and it does not belong to them. Okay? But the person who holds the calculator, so the person you borrowed the calculator, can do as they please with the calculator, but they owe you the calculator. So they're just holding your calculator and they're using your calculator, but it does not belong to them. Same with the bank. They hold your money, but it does not belong to them. It's your money. You work for it, you placed it in the bank for the bank to hold, for the bank to use. Okay? So the bank sees you as a creditor, and all credit accounts increase on your credit side and decrease on your debit side. So a debit balance in the bank statements reflects a favorable balance. So it's favorable where it increases. So this is incorrect because your bank statements or your bank recon will increase on your credit side and decrease on your debit side. So this is false. Oh, color change there. I think I actually like the blue. Let's go with the blue, yes. So we've got true, then we've got false, and we've got a second false. 4.2.1, bank reconciliation. The information provided relates to surprise stores. The business is owned by, who is it owned by? Themba Zwane. Okay, so this is the owner. Themba receives the official bank statements on the 26th of each month. Dates are always important. So the 26th of each month, so sorry, let's take a step back. Surprise stores is us. You always see the company as yourself. So you are basically the owner. You are basically Themba, in other words. Okay, so the bank statement is received on the 26th of each month. What does that mean? That from the 27th all the way until, depending where the month ends, so month end, these transactions will not reflect in your bank statement. Therefore, you'll have to adjust bank recon. So your bank recon serves as your bank statement. So this is where you make adjustments. Okay, so you're required 4.2.1. Use the table provided in the answer book. Our answer book for this illustration or for this tutorial is shown on your right-hand side. Calculate the final totals in your cash journals on the 31st of July 2022. So this is our current month. And this is where we need transactions recorded. So in your answer book, we're calculating your totals. So totals for receipts, total for payments. 4.2.2, again, we ask to calculate, so plus, minus, your bank balance in your ledger as at your 31st. Again, this is your current month. Dates are always important. You're always expected to circle dates to help you highlight. Always circle dates. Always make notes of dates. So the 31st of July, again, is emphasized that this is your current month. Prepare your bank reconciliation statement as bank reconciliation statement as at the 31st of July, again, current month. So bank reconciliation statements is adjustments we make to our bank statement. So this is where adjustments to bank statements is shown. Bank accounts, we say we take opening balance, it's either a positive or negative, plus CRJ total plus minus CPJ total. Okay, let us go to our additional information together. So we are told on the 1st of July 2022, the bank account, again, dates are important. So this is the beginning of the month, of current month. Your bank account in the general ledger reflected a favorable balance of how much? 53,800. So let's just draw this out just for understanding purposes. We're saying a bank account is an asset. So bank, this is an asset. All assets increase on your debit side increase on your debit side and decrease on your credit side. Okay, let's try to make it bigger so while we work through it. There we go. And then you've got a decrease on your credit side, so decrease over there. So we're saying on the 1st of July, beginning of the month, opening balance. Again, we're saying for 4.2.2, we take your opening balance. Here's your opening balance, 1st of July 2022, reflected a favorable balance. And what amount was the favorable balance? 53,800. So let's input our 53,800 before we forget it and before we lose such an easy mark. Okay, so they literally gave us this mark for free. So 53,800, this is your opening balance. Is this a plus? Is this a minus? Positive. Why is it positive? Because they told you it's a favorable. Favorable things increase on your debit side for an asset. Okay. And also favorable for the bank is also on the debit side. So it's a positive 53,800. Part B. Your bank reconciliation statement prepared on the 30th of June. Dates are so important. Bank reconciliation statement, 30th of June. So this is your end of your prior month. End of prior month. This is also then the beginning of current month. Shown the following outstanding deposits and EFTs. Okay, so we know the aim of a bank recon. Just make it larger again while we explain. So the aim of bank recon is to ensure that your cash books, CPJ, CRJ, all your cash books equate to the cash that is reflected in your bank account or your bank statement to make things easier. Bank statement. So this is basically to identify errors. So in order to identify errors, omissions, and fraud. Sometimes fraud is not very obvious, so you'll need to figure out why 5,000 was missing every month, for instance. Then you know it's a possibility of fraud. Okay, so we told that your bank, let's go back, your bank reconciliation statements, which was prepared last month, showed the following outstanding deposits and EFTs. So we know if one of these deposits or EFTs is not in your current bank recon statement, then it will still be outstanding. Okay, but if it does show in your current recon bank statement, then it is no longer outstanding. So notes to self: if in current bank statement, no effect, versus if not in current bank statement, then we add as outstanding. Okay, so let's go through the first one. We told, let's grab our highlighters. We told we have a deposit on the 15th of June of 19,500. So a deposit, let's make notes to ourselves as we go. A deposit is always, let's go back to our bank recon statement. Bank recon statement, yeah. Bank recon statement, or your bank statement, increases on the credit side. So a deposit will increase your balance. So deposit dated 15 June 2022. This would have initially been on your credit side. It is a deposit. Okay, so the deposit of 19,500, let's check if we have any corresponding additional information. We told the first point, a deposit on the 15th of June, 15 June, appeared on the July bank statement as 15,500, but this amount is different to this amount, yes? An investigation revealed that the cashier at the time has resigned. The outstanding amounts must be written off. So the difference between the two, 15,500 and 19,500, is the outstanding amounts that must be written off. Okay, but we said these amounts appeared on your current statement. So these amounts appeared on your current statement, previous month statement. Okay? But it's not in your, it is in your current statement. Now we're told in July, it's in your July statement. Okay? So therefore, it appears, so here again, I'll note to ourselves, if it's in your current bank statement, then there is no effect. But these amounts are different, so there is an effect. Okay, so how do we then go about this? What is the difference? We calculate the difference that must be written off. So it appears in both for this amount, but the difference of the two will not appear in both statements. Your cash journals, your cash books, and in your bank statement, the difference does not appear. So we've got 19,500 less 15,500. And you get an amount of 19,500 minus 15,500, all put in our calculator, 4,000. 4,000 because these amounts was shown on your cash journals in this month. That's why it was outstanding and not in your bank statement. So your bank statement does not have this amount because this amount showed in your journal and not in your bank statement. Your bank statement showed this amount. Therefore, your bank statement is correct and we adjust our journal. So 4,000 Rand is going to which journal? So let's go back. It would have been initially recorded in your CRJ. But to correct it, you'll do the opposite. So now we record in your CPJ to reduce the amount. So CPJ will have an amount of 4,000 Rand. So 4,000 Rand is going to our CPJ. Okay. Let's do the next one together. A deposit dated 29 June 2022 of 12,800. So we don't have any additional information. Let's check if we do. Deposits note goes straight to EFT. So we're out of our deposit notes. But let's continue. Let's look at the next one. We've got EFT 297 of an amount of 9,600. Let's check if we have any additional information for this. So EFT 297, 9,600. EFT 297 was correctly reflected as 6,900 on the July bank statement. So in your current bank statement, it appears in your cash journals in the previous month. Now it appears in your bank statement. So there's supposed to be no effect. But the amounts are different. Grabbing our highlighters. So, the first part of your bank reconciliation says we had a deposit that was dated. So let's grab corresponding highlighters. We've got a deposit that was dated 15 June 2022 for 19,500. Let's check if we have any corresponding information that relates to the first bullet. Point 1, a deposit on the 15th of June, so that is the same date, appeared on the July bank statement as 15,500. But wait. These two amounts are different. So we've got 19,500 and we've got 15,500. An investigation revealed that the cashier at the time has resigned. The outstanding amount must be written off, so the difference between the two must be written off. Again, if it appears on your bank statements as 15,000 and 15,000 is correct, then which amounts need to be written off and where must it be written off? So if 15,500 is correct, it means it was overstated in your journals. And why are we saying it was overstated in your journals? Because it was first recorded in your CRJ as 19,500 in the previous month, yes? But in the current month now, the actual amount comes in and we only get 15,500. So your CRJ needs to come down. And how do you choose your CRJ? So you choose CRJ by increasing CPJ, the opposite of it. So what's our difference? 19,500 less 15,500. Let's put this into our calculator. What amounts do we get? 4,000. Yes. Okay, so let's put that in. 4,000. Perfect. Let's read our second bullet point. A deposit dated 29 June 2022. And this is for an amount of 12,800. Do we have any corresponding information for this? I do not see any because the second point says EFT 297. And that's not a deposit. So it means all the deposits have already been accounted for. But let's continue reading. We'll come back to our deposits. EFT 297 of 9,600 over here. 9,600. What do they say about it? Grab corresponding highlighters. So this EFT again, 297, was correctly reflected as 6,900 on the July bank statement. So where was it incorrectly done? It was incorrectly done in your journal. So we're correcting our journals. What is the difference between 9,600 less 6,900? We get an amount of 9,600 minus 6,900, 2,700. 2,700. But first we need to ask, where was it originally entered? So it was an EFT. So an EFT was originally entered in your CPJ. We're saying your CPJ was overstated. 9 is greater than 6. So we decrease, so a decrease in your CPJ will be seen in an increase in your CRJ. Okay, so we're including this in our CRJ for an amount of 2,700. Does that make sense? So we're saying this EFT was correct in your bank, meaning whatever is recorded in your journal was incorrect. So let's fix our journals. We say, where was it originally recorded? It was originally recorded in your CPJ, but we need to fix our CPJ. So we can't have a negative amount in your CPJ because our total here needs to be positive. Okay? So we decrease our CPJ by increasing our CRJ. So we want to add it because it's the opposite. So we want to add the difference, which is 2,700, to your CRJ. If this doesn't make sense, please feel free to jot down the confusion in the comment section. The next bullet, we have EFT 298 of 12,300. Let's check if we have any additional information. The outstanding amounts from the previous month appeared in the July bank statement. Again, let's go back to this point that we made over here. If the current bank statement amounts, okay, so if the amount appears in your, okay, so what did we say before? We said if an amount appears in your journals and it appears in your current statements, then it has no effect. And this is what they said for point 3. The outstanding amounts from the previous months appeared on the July bank statement. They appeared on the July bank statements and they appeared in your journals in the previous month. Then there is no effect. So this deposit dated 29 June 2022 of 12,800. And this EFT 298 for 12,300 has no effect. So we've covered everything. We've covered the first deposits, the second deposit, EFT, and the last EFT. So we can move on. Part C. Before receiving the July, Scrabble highlighters, our July 2022 bank statement, the cash journals reflected the following provisional totals. So we've got 101,200 and we've got 135,215. And these two amounts are already our opening balances. Okay, part D. The following items on the July current statement must still be recorded. Where must it be recorded? So it's in the bank statement. What's outstanding? Your journals. Our aim, going back, our aim of bank recon is always to make sure that your journals equal your bank statement. So if it's in your bank statement, again, what is outstanding? Journals. First point, a debit card payment of 1,400 for petrol. So this is an expense of the business vehicle. So this is something that we need for the business to operate. Temba neglected to submit the transaction documents to the bookkeeper. Okay, so this is very clear. We just need to add, because it's an expense, we add it to your CPJ as a payment. An amount of 1,400. Point 2, the direct deposit received from debtor D of 5,800 in settlement of his account 6,000. So let's not confuse the two amounts. Okay, so he owes us 6,000, but he only paid 5,800. Your journals are not concerned with how much he owes. Your journals are concerned with how much he paid, how much cash we received. Okay, so you've got a deposit. A deposit is usually in your CRJ because it's money that comes to us. And how much did we receive in cash? 5,800. So your CRJ, we've got an amount of 5,800. A debit order to Palm Insurance for the business insurance of 1,800. So we are paying, so to Palm Insurance, paying. CPJ, cash paying journal, cash payments journal. And we've got an amount of 1,800. Then we've got a direct deposit of how much? 72,000 from Unitech College. This is an error on the statements as it does not apply to us. The bank was notified of this error. So it's not in the journals yet. So there's nothing we're going to adjust in our journals because it does not belong to us. But where is it? Where can we correct the error? In your bank statements, because it reflects in your bank statement of 72,000. Okay, so we correct our bank statements by going to bank recon. Okay, so before we go to bank recon, let us draft our skeleton for the bank recon. So you've got your favorable or unfavorable balance as per bank statement. Then you've got outstanding. So this will always, be the same. Outstanding deposits. Then we have got outstanding EFTs. Oh, sorry, we do not know how many outstanding deposits are, so you leave this blank. Okay, because you might have more than one outstanding deposits, but you do know your very end or your very last line should be favorable, unfavorable balance as per bank account. So this you can input already. Okay, so we're saying we've got a direct deposit and this was done erroneously as an error. So we can say correction of error. of error and where was it previously recorded. So again, in your bank statement, to make it easier for you, you've always got your debits on your left hand side and your credit on your right hand side. Okay, bank recons, just like a bank statement, debit is a decrease and your credit is an increase, because a creditor's account will always increase on your credit side. Okay, so deposit would have been on your credit side over here, but now to reverse it, you would send it to your debit side. So you've got correction of error on your debit side, 72,000. Let's move to the next one. We've got total bank charges of 825. So this is supposed to be in your journals, not yet recorded in your journals. Bank charges, we know, are an expense. Expense reflects in your CPJ. So let's add this to our CPJ, an amount of 825. Then we've got interest on earned savings account. So interest where on a savings account, which is an asset. Okay, and if it's an asset, it means we received it and we didn't pay for it. So it's in your CRJ, savings account. Okay, and this is an amount of 260. E, entries to your cash journals after the 26th of July. So remember at the beginning we said your bank statement only shows amounts up until the 26th of each month. So thereafter, this will not be in your bank statement. So here, when they say entries to cash journals after, this is not in your bank statement. So it's in your journals, but not in your bank statement. Therefore, all of this will affect bank recon, because your recon is where you adjust your bank statements details. So we've got the first one, a deposit for the 29th of July, 2022. So we've got outstanding deposits. Deposits increase your balance, so plus on the credit side. And this is an amount of 29,500. Second is an EFT 350 to PN Stationers, dated 28 July 2022. We've got an amount of 4,200. So we've got no other deposits. We can go on to outstanding EFTs. Outstanding EFTs, number 350, and this is on your debit side because things decrease on your debit side for your bank recon. Amount of 4,200. Then you've got another outstanding EFT, the number 351, for an amount of 3,800. Let us continue. Part F. Your bank statement balance on the 31st of July 2022 is, we don't know. Therefore, your bank statement balance will be a balancing figure. Balancing figure in your recon. So this amount over here. Not that amount, sorry. This amount over here, wrong row. That amount over there. So because we've done everything for your bank reconciliation, we can then go ahead and add our amounts. So we're going to go 101,200 plus 2,700 plus 5,800 plus 260. To get us a total of, let's put that in our calculators, we should get 109,960. 109,960. Let's go to our cash payments journal. Let's add up 135,215 plus 4,000 plus 1,400 plus 1,800 plus 825. And this should give us an answer of 143,240. Okay. Remember the little formula we wrote to ourselves, where we said your bank balance is equal to plus or minus opening balance plus CRJ less CPJ. Same thing is going to happen here. Okay, so we've got plus 35,800 plus CRJ of 109,960 less 143,240. And this should give you an answer of 20,520. 20,520. So we have our total. Let's not waste time and forget about it. Forget about easy marks. This amount should automatically go to your bank recon. Okay, is this positive or negative? This is a positive amount. Positive amounts will go on your credit side. Debit side. So this is a favorable balance. Sorry about that. Favorable. I'll show you now why it goes on your debit side. Favorable balance as per bank account. Your bank is an asset. Assets increase on your debit side and decrease on your credit side. We're saying it's a favorable balance. So as per bank account, it will be sitting on your debit side. So you've got this same amount over here on your debit side, an amount of 20,520. Do we have anything else that goes to your statement? Nothing else to your bank recon. So let's add up our totals and see which side is bigger. So here we've only got 29,500, so we can see that our debit side will be bigger, our left hand side will be bigger. So let's add these amounts up. 4,200 plus 3,800 plus 72,000 plus 20,520 to get a total of 100,520, and the same on the other side, 100,520. So you just repeat the same amounts on the other side. So we want to reconcile. So we want to see this amount is the greatest amount. So your total is supposed to be 100. So for here, our balancing figure will say 100,520 less 29,500. And this should give you an amount of, let's put that in our calculator, 71,020. This is on your credit side as per your bank statement. Your bank statement increases on its credit side. Therefore, this is a favorable balance. Balance as per bank statement. Forgot balance there. And here as well. But this is your favorable balance as per your bank statement. If anything about this question is unclear, please feel free to jot them down in the comment section. We are getting everybody closer to their distinctions. Please smash that like button, consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one.